Hello guys, today in this video we are going to help you to find out the best smoothie blenders in market. I made this list based on my personal opinion, and I tried to list them based on their quality, durability, customer review, and more. If you want to see their price and find out more information about them, you can check our links in the description below. Number 10. Hamilton Beach Power Elite Blender. One of the biggest complaints we see about blenders is their high price tags. But this model from Hamilton Beach doesn't make you choose between great performance and low cost. The cylinder-shaped pitcher has a mess-free spout, and the pitcher fits very snugly into the base, so we never had concerns about big messes during our tests. It has a total of 5 buttons, 2 to control the high and low speeds, 2 to control the pulse function, and a 5th button to shut the blender off. We also noted how straightforward the controls were during our tests, which helps make this a great model for beginners who don't want to deal with knob control or don't want to spend an exorbitant amount of money on an entry-level blender. While this model is not as powerful as others, it can hold its own against much more expensive blenders in terms of performance. Number 9. Breville Fresh and Furious Blender. Not only did the Breville Fresh and Furious Blender pass our smoothie, soup, and frozen margarita tests with flying colors, it was one of the only blenders to conquer the mayonnaise test, even beating out our Vitamix. While it did well in all of our tests, it really blew us away when it came time to blend frozen drinks, producing a perfectly fluffy margarita in just 33 seconds. It features a slender design that won't take up too much space on the counter, and the control panel combines manual buttons with a digital display that we found very intuitive to use. We also loved how easy it was to clean this blender after testing was finished. There's a convenient 60-second auto-clean function, but it is also very easy to clean by hand thanks to the angled blades and rounded base. These attributes, paired with the great value reflected in the price, make this blender a no-brainer for our top pick. Number 8. Breville Control Grip Immersion Blender. If you want more immersion blenders, I've written a whole separate guide, but I'd be remiss not to include my best overall pick here. It comes recommended by a few pros: food writer, editor, and cookbook author Matt Rodbard, recipe developer and writer Posey Bryan, food writer and editor Elise Whitney, and myself. Though the functionality of an immersion blender is different from that of the other machines here, it can often be an adequate substitute for a lot less money and with a much smaller footprint. I will note that the one big exception is when it comes to hard ingredients. If you plan to make smoothies, other icy beverages, or nut butters regularly, you'll definitely want to go with one of my picks above. But if you plan to use it more for blending sauces, soups, and dressings, an immersion blender will likely suit you just fine. The Breville Control Grip itself is powerful and allows you to choose between 15 speeds. That wide-ranging variance comes in handy for liquids. I can start lower so ingredients don't splatter, then gradually move up. It also allows for subtle but clear differences when making mixtures like salsas where I don't want to overblend, or immersions like aioli. Number 7. Swilling and Finnegy Blender. Unique to this collection is the accompanying app, which can be downloaded for free from the App Store. Simply scan the QR code on the product packaging to download the ZWILLING Culinary World app to search a database of original recipes. I think Zwilling's full-size blender is one of the sleekest looking on the market. For a generally bulky product, it has clean lines and a satisfyingly geometric shape with a chic fluted design on the jar. It's not all in the appearance though. In the year I used it, before I made more permanent room for my Vitamix, it performed beautifully. The pre-programmed settings are nice to have. I like the frozen cocktail one, and am also a fan of the wash button. But you can also manually control the blades with a turn of the dial and a push of the button. This feature lets me keep an eye on consistency as I go, so my emulsified dips get to the exact texture I want. Number 6. NutriBullet Pro 900. Sometimes a personal-sized blender is all you need, and though the NutriBullet is my top pick, it's worth reading my full guide to them if you're set on that size. Indeed, I find one can be even better for small batches than larger blenders because ingredients have a better shot at being evenly blended when everything is closer to the blades. Not to mention it's easier to store and wash. This blender has become part of my regular rotation. I pull it out often to make dressing to use throughout the week. It simply emulsifies my go-to mixture of olive oil, lemon juice, mustard, and honey better than I can do by hand. Plus, the lid allows me to store it directly in the fridge without decanting into another container. The blades are powerful enough to get a pretty smooth consistency of tougher ingredients, but the manual control allows pulsing for a more chopped texture too. Like if I'm making salsa verde, you stop and start the machine by pressing down with your hand on the top of the jar once it's secured to the base. Strategist Managing Editor Kelsey Schrader bought this blender as an upgrade from the more basic model she used before to make weekly smoothies. While she says the original worked well, she's noticed this newer one is more powerful. It blends a bit faster and more thoroughly than the 600-watt one did, she says of the 900-watt machine. Number 5. Vitamix A3500 Ascent Series Blender. Vitamix's A3500 Ascent Series model has a touchscreen, which makes it super easy to wipe down, as well as a timer of which Gabby Dalkin, the cookbook author and blogger behind What's Gabby Cooking, is a big fan. It allows her to blend for exactly the amount of time she wants before it automatically shuts off. Brandon Jew, chef and owner of Mr. Jew's in San Francisco, also told me that he loves this particular feature, along with the great auto functions like dips and hot soups. Dalkin says the A3500 is even easy enough for her toddler to turn on, allowing her to help make smoothies and feel invested in the process. It features the same sharp blades as the 750 and a comparably powerful motor. The Ascent has slightly higher wattage, 1,500 instead of 1,440, but not so much that it should be discernible. If you're deciding between the two, the difference mostly comes down to the type of interface you prefer. Number 4. Vitamix E310 Explorian Blender. A more affordable Vitamix model is this Explorian Series E310. If you don't care about the automatic settings on the 750 or the smaller container size of this one, I believe this one is a great bet. It comes recommended by Ksenia Abdulova, founder of Breakfast Criminals, who uses it daily. I personally prefer the manual switch experience versus touchscreen, she says. Culinary artist Maria Ananda, who also uses her E310 every day, says the manual switches allow her to pulse to control texture if she wants a chunkier soup or sauce. Still, if she wants seamless emulsification, the strength is unmatched, she says. Blending down things that are very fibrous like ginger or galangal can be tough, but this Vitamix makes it so easy. She also says she appreciates that unlike some cheaper blenders she's used in the past, food doesn't get stuck in the nooks and crannies of this one, which has a dishwasher-safe basin. Number 3. Huram Hexa Power High-Speed Blender. If you want a high-speed blender on the larger side, and one that's less expensive than both the Vitamix 750 and the Blendtec, I recommend this Huram. I heard about it from strategist writer Kat Gillespie, who notes the plastic container's sturdiness and says the base has a nice weight to it, though she warns that the appliance is definitely pretty hefty and takes up space. The machine has both automatic controls for smoothies, ice crushing, and soup, and manual ones, and Gillespie mostly uses hers for smoothies. It makes the perfect consistency, very smooth, no lumps, even if you don't measure out a good ratio of liquids to solids, and is very convenient as you go about your morning and do other things, she says, in reference to the automatic button you can simply press and then walk away from. Number 2. Blendtec Total Blender Classic. After testing this Blendtec, I was surprised to find it felt just as powerful and durably built as the Vitamix 750. I used it to make a sun-gold tomato sauce to freeze for winter, and after blending on high for about 2 minutes, it was silky smooth, with absolutely no bits of skins or seeds. It also has a pulse setting I used for foods with a chunkier consistency, like a Swiss chard pesto. The blades broke down the firm leafy greens, but not so much that they turned to pure liquid. To be clear, the Vitamix does have its perks: a longer warranty, more speeds, a dial instead of a touchscreen, simply a personal preference for me. But the Blendtec is undeniably strong. It comes enthusiastically endorsed by Christine Sahadi, owner of New York City's Middle Eastern Market and Restaurant, sahadis too. She told me about it a while back, noting in our interview that both Blendtec and Vitamix make very good quality units. Number 1. Vitamix Professional Series 750 Blender. Vitamix has a lot of blender options, but in my reporting, the 750 was the preferred model of professionals and regular cooks alike, including me. It's expensive, yes, but well worth the investment for its incredibly sharp blades and strikingly powerful motor. Don't just take my word for it. Moonjuice founder Amanda Chantal Bacon has been using the 750 in a professional capacity in her shops for years, turning out a high volume every day, and says neither function has degraded. At home, I find it makes quick work of soft ingredients. It takes only a few minutes to get silky soup or light and airy hummus. It can easily handle tough ingredients like nuts and grains, as well as fibrous ones like ginger. This also means it's extra efficient at crushing ice for smoothies and, in my case, cocktails. The self-cleaning option really works too. You simply add a drop of soap and some water, the machine whirs for about a minute, and then you rinse it out. One of my biggest hesitations with adding appliances to my kitchen is the space they take up, including in the sink and dishwasher. But this function means as soon as I'm done, it's a breeze to wash and put away. I've never had an issue with water spots either.